Vi ska ha en roadtrip. Kom igen du.
Yeah, I think being an underdog is a good starting point for me and for us. I like to have someone to look up to, and I like to have, big competitors. I love that, and I think we are in that position, feeling like an underdog. I think for me personally, it's a mixture of being what you mentioned as not an outsider, but thinking differently. When I was younger, I listened to punk rock a lot, or punk, as you said, and that was also a kind of outsider thing. That listened to the texts, and it was against the rich or the society, and I can still feel a bit like a punk rocker. Here's my first warehouse of, not a warehouse, but a room I had when I was children. A room where it all started when I had my first mail order business of comics.
So what made you start a business out here?
Well, what else could you do? Living here with my mom and my very much older brothers, that they weren't really home, so. My mother wasn't obviously rich, so if you wanted to have like cash for cigarettes or gasoline from your motorcycle, or buy new jeans, you need to get the cash on your own. And I think that was a big driver for me to get going and to make some business. I think business is not only because of making money, it's about a lifestyle and a freedom, and that you want to achieve something and you want to possibly change something or go somewhere. And for me, everything is possible. And I think business has been, that's been my platform.
Did you start that business, do you think, as a normal 11 or 12-year-old would have gone about it?
Well, I really started doing comic books business when I was 13. That was my first catalog. I got my first customers. So before that, it was more learning the values and the business. But I guess I looked at others, and I guess I start thinking, and I had a vision what I wanted to create with this catalog. I put the name LV Comics, and is that normal or not? I don't know. I guess there is still happening today, but it was different times. This was like 30 years ago, and again, you need to make your own money. Running a business, knowledge is everything, and when I was very young, I learned all the comic books that are published in Sweden. It's like 50,000 of them. The value and how they look like, and that information intelligence gave me the power to buy big bulks of comics or boxes of comics, going to flea markets or auctions, and doing it fairly efficiently in order to create this mail order business. So that information was critical, and information is critical today to operate the business we are operating, obviously.
So when you're 15, in 1993, you run Sweden's largest mail order business in used comics, and you look like this. What is your feeling when you see this?
Well, I remember it's like yesterday when they came to the warehouse, and I made this article. But also here in this article is about video games, thinking about doing the video games, but I haven't tried it yet. I think this was in the spring, and I did the first video games in the summer. Then I felt, wow, this is a real, demand and industry. Why should I bother about comic books? So I sold all the comic books in a truck to another guy in Sweden, and then, it was all video games. At the second grade of high school in Sweden, the mobile phone came, and the calls just became too much during daytime. And I hardly made it to second grade, and then I called them up, said, I'm taking a year off here. But I felt back then I will never go back, I think. So I had my first employee then in the business, and things really started to move. Yeah, I always had that sense of, perhaps not being an outsider is not the right word, but you can look at yourself and a group of people or a situation kind of in a distance while being present. Self-reflecting has always been one thing I have been trying to do. Trying to learn from your mistakes or the history. In reality, it's quite hard. Even though you understand what you do, you are kind of the same person today than you were at 20 or 15, but obviously your environment and your knowledge is much greater. But the personality is the same. And that's something that actually helped me in a way as well to build a business, because I don't believe in changing people. I believe in empowering people to do more of the better things they know well, and let them grow as persons, but also as a business. But start applying your own behaviors on other people, I don't think is possible.
We are at the head office in Karlstad doing this, and being here is a bit like being in the middle of different collections. What do you collect, and why do you collect?
Well, I started collecting comic books again like 20 years ago, year 2000. So I'm still actively collecting comic books every week or day. I'm collecting the first issue of all Swedish published comic books since the 1800 up until today. So there is several thousands. Then I start collecting, collections of things that interest me, like share certificates, literatures about companies or military history and so on. There is a long list of collections. I think it's important to understand your history to be able to understand the future. I guess that is the best answer why you are collecting all these things. But I think somewhere I believe that one day I will have the time to really enjoy sitting like in all that collections warehouse, wherever that is, and enjoy reading or opening all these packages and really you're getting this memories back in a way. At the same time, I do try to be balanced on this, because you can spend endless of time on this, and what really matters the most is the future. So I think you need to balance the history with the future.
You constantly talk about this specific part of Sweden, city of Karlstad and the province of Värmland. It's almost like you're on a mission to put this place on the map.
It's my neighborhood, and it's the place where I grew up. It gives me a safeness and a home feeling to be active in this region and province, and I want to give back to the province what the province has given me. And I think it's important for me to operate this business out from here, to have that feeling that we are back home, and rather bringing the world to Värmland rather than I need to go out and live somewhere else. And I think with today's society, with the connections, the internet and everything, it's possible. You don't need to live in London or New York. I think especially during the pandemic, the world have shown that it's possible to live anywhere.
What is it with cars?
No, I think it's a childhood dream to, drive the cars you can, purchase or the family didn't have when you were young.
Can you tell me something about the culture with American cars and the countryside in this part of Sweden?
There is a lot of culture about, going around with the American cars, having a few beers, having a good time, dancing. Some listen to rockabilly music, and some just listen to good 60s, 70s. So, I wouldn't say I'm, do that every weekend, but perhaps once a week in a year or something could be a nice time.
It's not a rich man's thing, is it?
But what is a rich man thing, Unless you are really rich when you grow up, you don't really change your life that much. I don't think I've changed that much in the past 20 or 30 years. Even though you become a bit older, you're still the same person, no matter how much money you have, really. So today we have been driving a Camaro SS396 from the early 70s, and it's a fun car.
Have you got all your dream cars?
No. That's the thing, having dreams. You can never, fulfill all your dreams, could you? So the list of cars that you can imagine is always long. But the list of other things you can imagine is also long. And that's keep you going, I think that's the thing. You need to have those dreams to actually achieve something. You need to take the next step, buy the new car,
Make a new video.
Make a new video.